Hello, and you're very welcome back to the Public Eye Business Podcast, brought to you by Granite Exchange. I'm your host, Sarah Travers, and throughout this series, I'll be speaking with local entrepreneurs and business owners to learn more about how their companies have come to be, to gain an insight into their growth, and find out how they continue to innovate. So wherever you get your podcasts from, remember to keep an eye out for all new episodes and subscribe to stay up to date. Today, I'm joined in the studio by Peter Quinn. Who is Peter Quinn? Well, he is the owner of the Old School House Bistro and The Shack. Now, both Peter and his brother Paul are about to join forces in another new venture called The Shack, but a different shack, which will be opening soon in Camla. So first of all, Peter, welcome to the podcast. I'd love to find out a little bit more about you in just a second, but I'm going to give a bit of background into your business. So the Old School House is a cosy coffee house and bistro in the heart of the beautiful village of Travers in County Down, at the foot of the beautiful Mourne Mountains, serving breakfast, lunch and evening meals, outside catering, bespoke functions and much more. The Old School House pride themselves on the quality of their offering and the warmth of their welcome. Also based at the Old School House is The Shack, artisan wood, fired pizza and eats. And the brothers will be soon opening another shack, The Shack, in Camla very soon. Peter, it sounds like you're incredibly busy, and I've just found out too that you have 5 daughters as well. So yeah, you keep yourself busy.
I do. I don't know whether my children keep me busy or my work.
I'm sure you never get a second to yourself.
Yeah, but they always find time for them, and sometimes work can take over. But yeah, it's busy all the time in our house.
I'm sure. Well, maybe the next 40 minutes here in the podcast studio will be a bit of a break for you and an opportunity to perhaps reflect on what you've built so far. Now, I've never visited the Old School House, but it comes highly recommended. So tell us how it began.
I suppose I'm probably in Travers now about 9 years, and it was an existing business that I had taken over and purchased about 9 years ago. So I was always involved in hospitality. My father was a publican and a building contractor, so we'd always been in that industry, I suppose hospitality, since we were a young age. And it was a natural progression then for myself to move into this line of work, And
I think your dad was very well known in the area for lots of reasons, but he passed away sadly last year. But he built up quite a reputation and an empire. Yeah,
I suppose we have a lot to thank him for. He died last August the 18th, so it's about a year ago now. But I suppose his legacy lives on in us, and we strive to do well in our businesses like he and family life like he did.
And what was the upbringing like for you then?
It was quite good, yeah. Nice childhood. Plenty of good memories of my dad, and plenty of hard work, because he definitely gave us that. We worked a lot when we were younger.
There's 4 siblings, is that correct?
Yeah, I have 2 brothers and 2 sisters, and they all live around home still. And most of them are involved in business in some capacity.
So tell me, your dad, I think your parents had a pub, the Quinns.
Yeah, my father had a pub in Camla. It was called Quinn and Sons. Ironically, he had 2 daughters.
Yes.
But yes, and it's still there now to this day, although it's now called the Yellow Heifer Bistro and Restaurant.
And that's run by your brother Paul.
Yes, that's run now by my brother Paul.
And the Yellow Heifer, that's an unusual name.
Yeah, a nice story behind that, Sarah, yeah. My father was a big Irish traditional musician, and one of the tunes that he used to regularly play was called the Yellow Heifer. And I suppose that's how, when it was a pub and didn't offer any food, I suppose he always thought that if he had a restaurant, he would call it the Yellow Heifer. And then eventually, when that did come to fruition, that's what Paul decided to call the restaurant that he opened up was the Yellow Heifer. So it has links back to my dad, and yeah, it's stuck. And I suppose it's famous for its steaks, so i.e. the meat and the cow. Yeah. So that's where it's coming from.
It's a great name, and I've never heard the tune. I'm going to have to Google it whenever we finish this conversation. Your dad must have been very proud.
Yeah, he was a proud man, yeah. And my mum takes a lot of kudos as well for driving that forward,
I'm sure your mum was busy enough with everything that was going on.
She did, yeah, but she always found time for us, and she always found time for work. Very important.
Running a restaurant, how difficult is it? I know you've got lots going on there, from breakfast right through to evening meals, outside catering and functions as well.
Yeah, it's busy, but I think me personally, I like to be busy. I don't like the day to drag on. So if there's plenty to do and in the day, it goes quicker. I suppose it's this last few years, hospitality has faced a few challenges that weren't there prior to COVID. And now this year, especially with the cost of living crisis, that's had a knock-on effect on our industry. And I think it's going to continue to be the case in the next 18 months. I think it's going to be very important for business owners in hospitality to knuckle down in the next 18 months and get through the curve until it starts bending backwards and comes back, stuff starts falling down again in terms of product and commodities.
So just tell me how that, both COVID and indeed the cost of living crisis, what does it mean for you?
I suppose in business wise and personally, it has do different meanings to me. You know, I talk about COVID. In business terms, we had our business closed for 2 periods, probably lasting about 9 months in total. You know, and I chose then to, I suppose, change the direction I was going with my business, and I opened up a pizzeria. Built an extension on in the first lockdown, and I opened the Shack Artisan Pizza and Eats, and that's led me on a different trajectory in my business, and that's now leading to both Paul and I open the second Shack.
So it's the same idea, is it?
Exactly the same model of business that we have in Travers. We're now just putting it to a new destination.
So why, I mean, obviously COVID is thankfully behind us, but the model, people still want the pizzas.
Yeah, they do. It's quick. And it's nice to eat. I like pizza myself personally, but the product we have, we think the product is on point.
And describe what you can get with your pizzas then.
Well, if the pizza's the main product, and then we have the secondary products, which is our dirty fries and our chicken wings. So we do 5 different varieties of flavours of chicken wings, and we do 5 or 6 different flavours of dirty fries with a bit of a street vibe to them. So I think that's where we are now. The consumers, the younger generation, that's what they want to eat now. They like all that different variant of flavours that they can get, you know. Our pizzas are Neapolitan style, and they're cooked in a wood fire oven, which gives them more flavour, I suppose.
Oh, it does, absolutely. But you've kept the Old School House going. How's business doing there, and what are the challenges?
The challenges currently faced by, I think there's faced by everybody in the industry, are the rising cost of commodities, which then has a rising cost in the price of product, which then, I suppose, eats into your bottom line.
Do you pass that on to the customer?
There's only so much you can pass on, to be honest with you. It gets to a stage where the product then would become too expensive for the consumer to purchase. So it's a fine line between getting the margins right and keeping your customer. And that's where we are. So I think all businesses, and hospitality especially, have probably found that their margins have shrunk drastically in the last 12 to 18 months.
And do you see it continuing? Are you trying to ride this out?
Yes, it's about consolidation in the next 18 months. If you can get through the next 18 months, you'll be doing, anybody or business survives it in our industry in the next 18 months will can go on to get stronger. You know, I think then it's about growth, but currently now it's just about consolidation, just consolidating it.
What about the staffing issues? Because we've heard a lot about that too, trying to get the right people to work for you.
Yes, that's always a challenge, you know, and at the end of the day, in any business, and mine's no different, I'm only as good as the people that surround me. I like to think of myself as a facilitator. I only make the wheel go round. I'm only the person who makes that go round. My staff are the cogs in that wheel, or in that chain that makes it go round. And it's getting more difficult to recruit staff into our industry. We have had difficulty recruiting staff, especially now with Brexit coming in, and the work visas for the immigrants coming out of Europe aren't as easily obtained now. The point system is makes it more difficult for people to come into the country, and there would have been a high percentage of those jobs in hospitality that were taken by immigrants from Europe. So
that's been a big blow to you?
Yeah, it would be, yeah.
Right, it definitely would have been. Do you see a solution? Do you see anything in sight? I mean, if you were starting out, would you want to work in hospitality if you weren't the owner? That's a good question.
If I wasn't the owner, would I want to work in hospitality? I don't think I would, personally, and that's just being honest about it. There is a misconception, though, that there's no downtime and you have to work weekends and all, but I I think that's changing now. I look at other industries and I see retail that are open 7 days a week, and most industries now just don't pigeonhole themselves Monday to Friday any longer, apart from the civil service. They seem to work Monday to Friday all the time, no change. But other industries, retail, even manufacturing now is open 7 days a week. So there was a general consensus that in hospitality you had to work weekends. But if you're in it, and I was born into hospitality, there is no such thing as a weekend. Every day is a day of the week.
It's another day.
Yeah.
And are you flexible? Do you provide that flexible approach to people who work for you?
We do. We try to as much as it's feasibly possible, you know. And
that's the challenge, isn't it? You'd love to be able to do that, be that brilliant employer.
In an ideal world, yes, that's what it would be, and everybody would be getting weekends off. And we try to make that sustainable as much as possible. But then, I suppose, go back to the staffing levels and how good they are throughout the year, you know.
So with the shacks then, both in Camla and in Rostrevor, do you need as many people?
You do need as many people, probably.
I understand different skills, and you know you wouldn't have table service then, would you?
There's no table service.
You're not
needed.
waiting in customer service and all of those. It's about getting things out quickly.
Yes, it's about getting. It's less customer facing, and it's about getting the product to the people. 80% of them now order online, so there is less of that dealing with the customer.
You're not answering
the phone, so there is a less of a labour in that there end of it.
So has technology really helped you run the business?
Yes, technology definitely improves running a business. It definitely has made it easier in the last 5 years, I would say.
Mm-hmm. Now, you're going into business now with your brother, Paul.
Yes.
How do you feel about that?
I feel fantastic. Yeah.
To work that closely together with your sibling?
Yeah, I think when you're younger with your siblings, you always have a disagreement or variant opinions and stuff. I think both Paul and I are level enough headed, and after having our own business and run our own businesses for a period of time, then gets to the stage where you're more easier to listen to other people's opinions or ways of doing things. And I think that's where I've improved definitely in him as well.
Do you bring different attributes to the business, do you think?
Yeah, yin and yang.
Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Peter and Paul.
Yeah, yin and yang.
Who's yin and who's yang?
I'm yin, he's yang. Definitely, we both bring different things to the table, and that's why it's easy. Because he's good at one thing where I'm poor at it. I'm good at where he's poor at it, and we're both know by just talking, right, you're going to deal with this and I'm going to deal with that, and that's the way it is.
What are your strengths, Peter?
I'm a hard worker. Yeah, I'm hands-on. I'm not afraid to get stuck into it. Paul would be less than that, but he's better people manager than I am.
Ah, so he does all the talking.
He does all the talking,
right.
And I'm happy for him to do that, you know.
So that's a match made in heaven, really, isn't it? That sounds great. So, you know, you both help each other out and you both play to those strengths.
Yes, indeed.
Talk me through the Old School House and the offering. I had a look at the website, and I must admit the breakfast sounded lovely, the lunches sounded lovely, the evening meal sounded lovely, and you're so beautifully located as well. For those who maybe aren't from this area, I know we're in Newry today recording, it's a lovely place to go and visit. Yeah,
Travers beautiful, it definitely is. It's one of those places that if you've never been to it before and you drive through it or drive from Warren Point and you're heading towards Rostrevor and the mountains they literally do just sweep down to the sea. I was going to work this morning and Kieran Forlock was just listening. It was like a mirror, and I was just going, don't we live and work in a fantastic area? And you know, I'm in the schoolhouse for 9 years, and I was really unprepared for how many visitors there are actually to the South Down Peninsula. It used to be just summer and occasionally winter, but now that tourism trade as such has just exploded, and we get visitors all year round from all continents and countries in the world, you know. It really is fantastic. It's the gateways to the Mournes from in the South Down, and it goes Newcastle and along Valley up into Silent Valley, and it's absolutely beautiful place to work and live.
And is it great to share the local stories? I know you said you don't like the talking side of things, but actually when you hear people coming, are they interested in finding out the history? Do they usually have family connections with the area, or is it brand new to some people.
No, Travers is a very cultural village, you know. It has a lot of history behind it. And that's where it bears its name from. Travers was, and I think it was a general in the American Army, and they have a monolith on the left going into it. So there is a lot of history and culture, and a lot of cross-community events that go on throughout the year. The most famous one is probably the Fiddler's Green Festival. It's going in excess of 25 years now, and it's very, very heavily attended, you know. And you always get people coming in when you're talking to customers coming in, and they're always in some sort of a journey, whether it's looking for an ancestor or going walking in the hills or just there for the day passing through. There's always somebody who has a story for you, you know. You're
selling it to me. I fancy heading down there now. It sounds absolutely beautiful. And, you know, it is about the entire offering in the area. Do you find that businesses in hospitality in the area are very supportive of each other?
Yes, they definitely are. There's no doubt about that there. They had a collaboration a few years ago where the businesses came together and we had a food trail as such. So they've done that quite regularly there. And so they went from one hospitality business to another, and they offer these walking tours of the village. So it was quite good to look at there. Business creates business in my mind there, you know. So if I'm busy and it has a knock-on effect on another business, or if another business is busy, I'm going to get it busy because they're busy, you know. And Travers become a destination, and that's where the key till it is in hospitality. You can't just rely on what's around you. You need to attract the customer to you, and that's what Travers becomes. Become a destination for a day tripper or a weekend visitor, and there's definitely that's the way it's going to go be in the future.
So why Camla then for the Shack?
I suppose we thought long and hard about this. To be honest with you, we're both from Camla. That's where we were born and reared, and our families have businesses there, you know. So it was a wee bit a step for me personally. It was a step closer to home, and we think that the demographic of the people is there for us to open this, and there's definitely a demand for it. Camla is the gateway to South Armagh, and it's about chimney pots when it comes to our industry, and many people are around you. So we feel that there's a need for it there, and there's definitely a customer base passes our door every day. Access to 25,000 vehicles go through Camla every day, and so if you stop a percentage of those, you'll do all right.
And when will the new Shack be open?
Well, anticipated opening date is late September, early October of this year.
Which is 2023, just in case people are listening to this and they think, what year is it?
Yeah, 2023. Yes.
Okay, so it's happening. And are you excited about doing this together?
Yeah, I'm excited. But there's trepidation there as well, because you're getting into the unknown and you're investing. And I suppose you just want to have it opened now. At this stage, we just need to get it opened and get the systems in place and make sure that everything goes okay, you know.
You're just keen to get started, I can tell.
Yeah, definitely keen to get started, and it's like anything else. Once you're at it for a short period of time, it becomes a habit then, and the systems internally in the business will settle in, you know.
How do you market your businesses?
Actually, my sister does that for me. She's our social. A lot of it's done on social media.
Yeah.
Currently, either through the social platforms, Instagram, Facebook. Can't mention those, can I?
You can, absolutely. I think when you're going to a restaurant now, you know, everybody expects to see the nice food on Instagram.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of, you have to do it, don't you?
Yeah, you do indeed. The new generation, the younger generation, the millennia, if you want to call them that's where it is. They live their life online, and that's either a fortunate thing or an unfortunate, whatever generation you're from. But that's where it is now. 90% of our marketing is done online, with a small piece done through word of mouth, I suppose, as well, and that's a big driver in it as well. It's word of mouth, but definitely social media platforms is where it's done now.
But you ask your sister to do it. Do you think you'll be getting more involved? You won't be appearing and having a starring role?
Definitely not. No, I like to keep.
Paul will do that for you.
Well, that remains to be seen.
You might say you'd be a good double act. You're both incredibly fit as well. I believe you take part in Ironman challenges.
Yeah.
So you've got to burn off those pizzas, I suppose.
Yes, we do. I do a bit of that there, and Paul does a bit of that as well.
You're being a bit modest here, I think.
Yeah, I don't like to talk about it. Yeah,
why?
I've always done sport. I was involved in sport most of my life. All my life, actually. I played a lot of football for a local Gaelic football club, Carrickcruppen, and I played right up until I was in my mid-30s. And then when I quit that, I still needed exercise, and I took up triathlon then. and that snowballed into competing in Ironman events, you know. And I like that. I like staying fit. It keeps me focused, and it's good for the mind as well.
So what sort of training do you have to do? Because like I do a little bit of jogging and I think that's incredible if I can run a 5K, but you're training and what you take part in, you're pushing yourself. You're just literally seeing what your body can do every day.
It depends. I like having a goal. So if I entered a race, say if it's a full Ironman, your schedule can be pretty full, but it's all about time management. If you manage the time, there's no reason why you can't find, say 10 hours a week to do some exercise. And I know that I benefit from exercise, and if I benefit from it, the people that surround me benefit from it. It makes me a better person. It makes it clearer for me to make decisions in terms of me family life and in terms of my business life as well.
And when do you fit it in? What time works for you?
I find early morning helps a lot. And if I have a day, I'm on my day off, I take a day off now, religiously take my day off. I try and get some training done on my day off as well. But if I go early in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning, a 3 mornings a week, I can have exercise done before any of the kids are out of bed.
Exactly.
And it ticks a box, you know.
I know. The thing is, the people that say they can't fit it in, it's just making the excuses. You
There
can
is,
always fit it in.
And listen, don't get me wrong, I make them as well.
So do I.
Believe me, there's plenty of times I make them and just don't bother doing what I'm meant to do.
Do you think it keeps you mentally fit too?
Unequivocally keeps you mentally fit. Exercise is the key to that for me. Even in terms of certain issues that I may have at work that I can't find a clear path to solution on them, go out and do my exercise, and if I'm away for an hour or 2 hours on my bike, I could have a plethora of issues sorted out by the time I come out. Yeah, it makes it clear. It gives you time to think through what you're going to do or how you're going to approach a problem at work, you know.
There's something lovely too about once you've got out of bed, that early morning.
Yeah, fantastic.
The air.
Yeah, it's absolutely fantastic. A wee bit more difficult in the winter time, obviously, but once the clocks go forward or back, whatever, it's easier, you know, and definitely utilises your day to the full. You're up early, and you have so much done before the day has even started for a lot of other people, and that's what I like about it as well, you know.
And you said that it helps you in your business and it helps with everybody that's around you. What kind of leader do you think you are? Or do you try to be?
I try to be the best leader, given the day that I am here, if you understand what I'm saying. Every day is a different day for me. So some days they could throw a curveball at you and you deal with it better today than you would tomorrow, or vice versa, you know. So I try to be the best person that I can every day at work, and I make mistakes, but I don't try and let it define the rest of my working week or define the rest of my day. I have to stand by the decision I make, and sometimes they're wrong, but for me, knowing that you've made the mistake and being able to change that, it helps, you know. I think that's how I've progressed as a person in business, is understand, right, okay, I've made a mistake here. How am I going to rectify that?
And if it involves someone else, can you say sorry?
Oh yeah, I can say sorry. Although my wife wouldn't always agree with you on that one.
You're always right. Yeah, because that's a big thing for people to be able to do.
I think I've learned how to do that. I used to classify myself as a micromanager, and that would have been a problem, because I wouldn't been. I don't know if it was fear, but letting the people that are designated to do their actual jobs, letting them grow in the job that they're doing, and just let them do it, and having the belief and trust to do it in them. And I think, me personally, I've got better at that over the years. I've let that aspect of micromanagement has got less and less and less.
And how did you do that? Just go out on your bike?
No, I think just years of being in business and making decisions and having seen a problem that you've had before and dealing with it a different way has helped me do that there, and understand that actual fact, I'm only as good as the people that surround me. So if I don't let them do their job, they're not going to be there.
That's it. And they need challenged, and they need you to believe in them. And if they make a mistake, it's okay.
Of course it's okay. It's definitely okay to make a mistake, you know. Yeah. We make mistakes as humans every day of our lives, you know.
What does it mean to you to be a dad of 5 girls?
It's very special. Yeah, I'm very, very lucky. Both my wife and I are very lucky. We have 5 girls. My eldest is 10. Then I have 7, 6, 4, and my youngest is 18 months. So actually she's just 2 now in November. So next year they'll all be at primary school together, which is very special for us, you know. It's a nice time for us. Christmas is really good, and the house is never quiet.
I would imagine.
You know, I am a family man, although I do spend quite a bit of my working week at work. But I try to spend as much time as free time with them as possible as I can, you know. Do
you ever feel outnumbered?
All the time.
I bet you they spoil you rotten, do they?
Not yet, but I hope for later years that they will. Yeah. But I have learned just say yes.
Just say yes, and then everybody will be happy. Daddy, yes. What kind of world do you hope your children will grow into and grow up and be adults in, especially girls?
Yeah, that's interesting. I suppose I have thought about that as a father. I hope they grow up in a world that I grew up in, one that was loving and caring, and I know that is what they're going to get anyway, you know. And I hope that it doesn't change that much in terms of technology going forward. I know that's impossible to say that it's not going to, because it is, but I just hope that it doesn't get too fast, too quick for them, you know. They're only children at the end of the day, and I like to keep them as children as long as possible.
For as long as possible, yeah. I know, and they grow up so soon with everything that's all consuming at the minute. Opportunity wise for girls, do you think it's getting better?
Yeah, no doubt it's getting better for women in the industry. Definitely, they're driving. In Northern Ireland, they're definitely a driving force behind it now at the minute. There's no doubt about it. A lot of new businesses opening up or started by women, you know. And there are more opportunities out there for girls now, you know, whether it's in professional capacity or even in terms of beauty or hairdressing. There's definitely more opportunities for them now.
And do you think the girls will be going into the business with you? Would you like that?
I think I won't push them to do it, but I'll let them make up their own minds. And if they want to do it, I'll fully support them, you know. I think as parents, we only give our kids the skills to make these decisions. They are wee blank canvases at the end of the day, you know, and what you give them is what should come out at the end, you know.
So obviously you've got the entrepreneurial spirit from your late dad and indeed your mum as well and the family. What do you think you would like your legacy to be? Obviously it's a long way to have to be thinking about that, but what would you like to, especially in your local area, to have left?
I don't know. I never really thought about it, to be quite honest with you. I'm just happy to go to work, have my business, have another business, and be successful for my family more than anything. If you ask me why I'm doing it or why I go to work, that's mainly it. I want to provide for my family in as best capacity as I can. I never really thought about a legacy.
It's too early for that.
Yeah, definitely too early for that. There are a few more years left for me. I don't think retirement or a legacy of any description. I never thought much about it. I'd like to keep working as far on as possible into my life. You know, yes, fully intend to take the foot off the gas, but it's okay to be involved. I think it's vitally important that you get the stage of life where you're still involved and doing something, not every day of the week, but definitely something that keeps you involved mentally and physically. I think that's where I am with it.
And also giving back to your local community.
Yeah, definitely giving back to the local community, supporting clubs through sponsorship or whatever it is, and also creating employment as well, which is vitally important, you know. That's the way communities work.
Absolutely. Now, as I ask all of the guests who sit in your seat, this final question is the one I'd like to ask you next. The purpose, Peter, of this podcast is to inspire existing business owners and ambitious entrepreneurs to grow their business by offering an insight into the success of businesses such as the Old School House and the Shack, both the current one and the one that's about to open, and indeed the Yellow Heifer. So what advice would you give to people who may have a business idea, maybe it's in hospitality or maybe not, but have no idea where to begin or are unsure as to whether that risk is worth taking?
Yes, I think the most important thing for anybody that doesn't know whether they want to do it or not is be confident in yourself. Have the belief that you can do it. there's no such thing as a can't, and there's no such thing as no. There's also no such thing as failure. If you believe in what you're going to do, you will succeed at it. And you have to be clear in that conscious decision going forward. Yes, this is what I'm going to do, and I am going to succeed at it. And that's where it is. You have to believe in yourself. And I firmly believe in what I do. And I think going forward, there'll be a lot of people out there sitting in the position that I had been in 10 years ago, or whenever it was I first went into business, who have no knowledge or have no belief that they can do it, but they can. They just need to make the decision. Yes, don't sit on the cliff edge. Take the decision and go with it, and you won't regret it.
Did you have any key people who helped you?
Yes, I did have. I wouldn't be sitting here today, one, for my parents, and two, my family in terms of my siblings, but my wife supports me in every decision I make, and I wouldn't be sitting here today only for my wife, because she's the driving force behind me. She supports me in everything I do, and she understands the sacrifices that we both make in terms of our business and our family life, you know. But yeah, she's a key driver in what I do. That's my wife, Dervla.
You're a good team.
Yeah.
Well, look, Peter Quinn, it's been a pleasure having you in the podcast studio today. All the very best of luck to you and Paul for the opening of the Shack in Camla, and I look forward to paying a visit to all of your establishments at some point in the future. Thanks everyone for tuning in today, and do join me on the next Public Eye podcast, where we'll be meeting another fantastic guest. This podcast was recorded in Granite Podcast Studio. Interested in starting up your own podcast but don't know how? Granite Podcast Studio can help. Record your podcast in our state-of-the-art studio, which is based in the heart of Newry City. Our studio has cutting-edge and user-friendly technology and can seat up to 4 people. We also provide an editing service for our team, using your guidance and editing notes to provide you with a flawless finished product, leaving your listeners wanting more. For more information on how you can get started, visit www.granitepodcaststudio.com.